Good morning, morning. Hope you're all well. And again, the microphone doesn't want to work. Very strange. It keeps doing this, I think it's muted itself again. Has it not? Think so. If it has, I'm going to have to restart. Killing us at the moment, this damn thing. We'll be back again in 5 minutes. Sorry. Or can you guys hear us? Let me know. I don't think you can. It's working? You can hear me? I can't tell. So we have this little green bar that shows you when there's sound. Is there sound? Sorry about that. Everyone who's tuning in isn't watching this live thinking, what's he talking about? Yeah, we had a few problems with the sound recently where it just doesn't work at the beginning of streams. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. Good morning to everybody that's tuning in. Really appreciate you all being here for us today as ever. We really, really do. Here to talk a couple of transfer deals that are doing circulations this morning. And of course, just have a little chat. It's what we're here for. It's community. What are you thinking? What are you feeling in relation to the transfer market? Because I was thinking about this morning, right? It was only a couple of weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, a couple of 3 weeks ago, something like that, where we were being told on here by, I don't want to say, kind of negative Nellies. Oh, there isn't going to be any real transfer market. There isn't going to be any big money being spent. I mean, Chelsea are bucking that trend. And I get that Chelsea have got Hazard's money. I get they've got Hazard's money there and Morata's money to play with because they had the transfer ban as an example. But Man United are closing in very much on Jadon Sancho. You've got Arsenal that we're going to speak about this morning that are looking at submitting a bid. It's a big bid as well. £30 million for John Stones. I get a feeling that a lot of money is going to be spent this summer. I really think teams are going to go out there and they're going to spend a fair amount and they're going to try and, capitalize on this market where there's a lot of smaller clubs who are most certainly struggling. And I think it's a real naive notion to sort of sit there and think this isn't going to happen. And I really, really mean that. I think there's going to be big money spent. And I'm excited to see who clubs, go out there and bring in. But some fairly big deals to talk about this morning. A few others are out there as well. If there's any other transfers that you want to speak about, let me know. But before we go any further, please hit the like buttons. Please hit the share buttons as well. Really important to the Football Terrace that you get that done. An interesting debate as well. We're going to do a full show on this, but I'm reading it everywhere. And I thought United would get linked with new goalkeepers, but the media have gone for a different flavor on this. And it's Henderson versus David De Gea as well. And I think that's a real interesting one with everything going on at the football club. Dean Henderson could stop Man United spending huge amounts of money on players. Brighton are also interested in Ainsley Maitland-Niles. That's harsh, I feel a bit sorry for him. Hello, by the way, hello, Jeremy, one of our members. Hello to Daniel Sweetman, one of our members. Hope you're all good. So that's that there. Interesting one. Bale's not leaving Real Madrid, says his agent. Never going to leave. That's the one real problem you have as a football club. If you give someone a massive contract, £400,000-500,000 per week, and then they regress as a player or get older, it's almost impossible to get rid of them. Like, genuinely, it is almost impossible to move them on. So I do feel, I say, do I feel sorry for Real Madrid? No, I don't feel sorry for Real Madrid, but there we go. Other talks, when Liverpool are in talks to sign talented left-back Jamal Lewis, which I think could be a good signing. Interesting, Jamal Lewis is available for around 20 million quid. And I know Liverpool want backup, right? But if I'm Man United right now, I would look at Jamal Lewis at £20 million. Like, there are bargains out there. £20 million for Jamal Lewis. I think he's slightly further along than Williams. Is he as good right now as Luke Shaw? Some will say yes, some will say no. But we need cover in that position. Rather than dropping big bombs, Jamal Lewis looks a steal. Why just allow Liverpool to go in there and make their squad even stronger is beyond me. Let's talk here. Let's talk here about the Kai Havertz situation. Reports this morning in the Evening Standard say that Chelsea have agreed the Kai Havertz contract. It says personal terms have been formally agreed now between the parties. As of yesterday, it was sort of verbally agreed. It's now been formally agreed. The length of contract, the wages have all been put forward. Image rights have also been declared as well. It's now just the deal's just now awaiting the sanctioning from Bayer Leverkusen. What we believe the holdup now is on this deal is simply payment structure. So how much money is going to be paid up front for Kai and how much is going to be paid in installments? Chelsea want it structured in the very stereotypical with the structure of installments via amortization, where they will spread. It's going to be around £75 million for this player. You will get, by the way, Chelsea fans, you will see media outlets try and increase this to 80, 90 million. They're going to try and add the salary inclusive of this. But it's going to be around £75 million. Chelsea want to pay that over the length of it's going to be a 5-year contract with a 1-year extension on the end, but the extension won't be included within the amortization, the installments and the amortization. So it'll be £75 million divided by a 5-year period. Bayer Leverkusen are pushing back on that slightly. What they want is around about 50% of the fee up front in cash. So, and I understand why, although you can show the money from an accounting sense in your books straight away when you do it via amortization, there is an element of cash is king at the moment. And a lot of clubs have lost money because of COVID-19, and they may just want to have that money in their coffers. Michael here with the super chat says, hey, Terry, when are you finishing the TFS world-class metrics with the boys? We're probably going to wait until the Premier League season ends and then do it again. There's just been I haven't even done the tactic videos. I filmed one last night, not happy with it, got to do it again. I just haven't got the time at the moment. There's been so many games that have come so thick and fast that we haven't really had an opportunity to do any of that. But that's the news around Kai Havertz. Jadon Sancho says Man United will make a final bid, a take it or leave it offer of £80 million to Borussia Dortmund for the winger Jadon Sancho. And it's interesting, really, that there's probably an element of truth in this, but not in the way in which it's being presented. Man United, I've always said, United initially went in at like 70 odd £million, maybe a bit less. They wanted 120, 130. I always felt somewhere in the middle will happen. And I still think that. Dortmund are still holding out for a deal in excess of 100 million. I think it will come in between 100 million and 80 million pound. That's my thoughts and views. Is it the final bid? Not so much, in my opinion, on that. I'm not too convinced in relation to that. Killer Tomato here says Havertz over Bruno. Listen, Kai Havertz and Bruno are different players, although they occupy the same positions, and it's going to be a great competition next year. It's going to be great to watch the teams go at each other, but also to see who comes out on top. And we know that Bruno Fernandes is an absolute colossus player. We know that Bruno Fernandes is going to score multiple goals, create multiple goals. And you throw a Sancho into that mix. Honestly, if Man United and Chelsea fix their backlines as well, Liverpool better start worrying about both our clubs. Trust me. Liverpool need to start worrying. And I say that all with real, I mean it. I don't mean any of that with any kind of soul. I mean it with genuine respect to their clubs. But they have to start worrying about that. They have to start worrying about it, because Man United and Chelsea at the moment are not messing about, bruv. Not messing about. It's serious. Absolutely serious here. Winter Surfer here says, why compare? Just enjoy them. Look, there's always going to be comparisons, but absolutely enjoy them. You know, it's a bit like the KDB thing with me. People think I dislike KDB because I prefer Bruno Fernandes. And I understand the different types of players, but it's not a disrespect to like one over the other. The problem is slightly weaker people get frustrated by that. They do. A comment here says, Black, Gosson, Havertz, and Declan Rice, good business by Chelsea. I mean, that alone makes Chelsea next level. That alone makes Chelsea absolutely next level. Good idea, says United and Chelsea really challenging next year. But they've got to get the signings right. You know, if the one saving grace for Man United, if people really think that Man United need a new goalkeeper, the saving grace for Man United is they do have the option to try Henderson. Maybe Henderson saves Man United 80, 90 million pounds. As an example. But looking at this other news this morning, if I'm Man United, I'm looking at Lewis, you know. I'm looking at Lewis. I would look at some of these teams. I would look at the teams being relegated now. And if you go down to the bottom of that, league table, in all seriousness, there are some serious bargains. If you look at the three teams in Norwich, Bournemouth, and Aston Villa, even Watford. Now, Watford may end up staying up, right? You can look at those bottom four teams. There's some serious ballers in those sides. Decore, as an example, Sarr that you can bring in. Those are two. You look at Villa, there's McGinn, you've got Grealish, you even got Tyrone Mings as a backup centre-back here, right? I'm just throwing names out here that could strengthen the squad, not necessarily be mainstays in the first team. You've got Bournemouth, you've got Brooks, as an example. You know, you've got backup players in the likes of Josh King and Wilson that you could potentially look at. Ake is being linked with Manchester City at this moment in time. You then look at Norwich and everybody, you know, I would maybe a few months ago, you might have said Pookie, but not anymore. But you got Cantwell, you've got Buendia, you've got Lewis, you've got the other fullback whose name I completely and utterly forget right now. So I apologize for the disrespect. Max Aaron, sorry. Like, you've got decent players there. Aston here with a super chat says Coutinho to Arsenal swap deal with Guendouzi. Listen, if Arsenal pull that off, bruv, that's one of the deals of the century. That again, the player's got to work out, but you'll literally get it. Coutinho is 3 times a player that Guendouzi will ever be, and you're getting him in a swap deal. That's a madness. Brian here with a super chat says, if we don't get a defender, Grealish and Sancho, we cannot compete with Chelsea. Kai Havertz is next level, bro. It's over for Liverpool. Like I've said about Man United, go back to everything I've said. I believe we've turned a corner. I believe we're on an upward trajectory. And I believe that we're back. And I'm talking culturally. I'm talking work ethic. I'm talking the right frame of mind. Fine tuning is now needed. And if we sign Grealish, Sancho, a centre-back, we're competing next year. And we keep Paul Pogba. But I've always said that. If we don't do those things, then my mind completely changes. Because we know how good everybody else is going to be and how much they're going to improve by. So I stand by that 110%, no doubt whatsoever. Do me a favor, everyone tuning in, hit the like button, hit the share button. And if you're a subscriber to the channel, turn on the notifications. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe right now. Terry, your head looks like an egg. Yeah, bro. It's just old age, bro. It's all good. And you see that? See how strong man is? My hairline don't define who I am. And I'm still better looking than you, bruv. So it's all good. Everyone is shook of the change of dominance next season. Listen, that is from Aaron. Listen, I agree with you. I think everyone knows that next season is going to be the season. I think next season might end up being the greatest Premier League season of all time. Man City will spend so much. Trust me, they are going to have a super team. They're gonna do massively well. Like I was talking to someone last night on social media, and they said to me, "Oh, you know, Man City, they dodged the bullet by not signing Harry Maguire." You know, I'm like, did they? It's like Man United's defense improved by over 38%. Over 38%. Oh my God, Eric Dyer just signed a new deal at Tottenham. Jeez, bruv. Jeez. That's a madness. But yeah, as I was saying about the Maguire situation, Maguire has helped to improve Man United defense by 38%. If you look at City, for an example, they've conceded 35 goals this season, as an example. If we compare that to last year, they conceded 23. So we're Man United, and this is where you've got to stop being drawn into the banter era is fun, but it also skews your mind, because if you look at that, right? So 35 divided by 24. It's 35 now. I've got a game or so to go. They've conceded 100. It's 140%. It's 45% higher, which is crazy. It's crazy from their point of view. 40. It's actually more. It's like 47% more goals Man City have conceded this season. Now I've just done the math here now live. So people say, "Oh, City dodged a bullet not getting Maguire." How many of our goals have actually been balls over the top, ripping at his pace? Listen, man got nutmeg for a goal the other day. Terrible. Guy got turned by Bergwijn, and then the goalie made a bad save moving forward. As an example, got an own goal. He's not had a great couple of games. There's been some mistakes recently out there, but over the body of a and just what's interesting, people don't want to judge Man United based on 4 or 5 games as a team, but we're happy to judge a player on that basis. Overall, we've conceded 38% less goals. That is going to make us a top 4 team this year. And go back to what I was saying in early previews. I said he'd do it by 30%. Everyone said, no way. Everybody said, no way United's defense is going to concede 30% less goals. Every other YouTuber shot me down. 38% is the end result of this. Most clean sheets in Europe. Man City, who has supposedly dodged the bullet, have conceded 45% more goals and have completely lost their title. Man City had 98 points last season as a football club. They lost their best centre-back. They tried to sign Maguire, didn't turn out. They've got 75 points now. They're probably going to end up on, they'll probably end up on 80, 81 points. That's still colossal. That's nearly 20 points less. So 45% more goals conceded in 20 points. How have they dodged the bullet? How have you dodged the bullet if you've dropped so far from grace? And the biggest issue, they scored 93 goals this season. Now, I don't know how many goals they scored last season. I'm going to go check that as well. So they scored 95 in all. So they've actually scored more goals this season, City, than last year, pound for pound. With 2 games to go, if they score 2 more goals, they're going to equal last season. They scored 3 more goals in their last 2 games, which is highly likely they'll beat it. It's the goals they've conceded. Man City would be champions if they'd signed Harry Maguire. So people can say what they want about him. He's bad, he's average. No, City missing out on Maguire is the reason that they are not champions. Terry, most clean sheets in Europe, but how many trophies in Europe? Well, we'll see by the end of the season. We might win the Europa League, which will be a nice little achievement for us. But this is the thing. What you're doing there, Conrad, is really interesting, because you're taking a team achievement, okay, the team's overall achievement of not winning a trophy yet, and then you're bringing it down to, well, Maguire isn't good enough. Maguire has improved Man United's defense. We've got that clean sheet record. There's 2 elements. One, it took us time to click, because players are allowed time to gel, as an example. And we'd missed out on a main target, which was for creativity. We weren't breaking down the small teams and beating them, but we weren't conceding heavy amounts of goals. We've got the second best defensive record in the league. Where we struggled this season was in the early part, in the first sort of 20 odd games, was scoring goals. Our defensive record is the second best, or joint second best with Man City. But it's the goals scored, 63 goals. And so many of them, by the way, have come in the last 10 or so games. If you go back to how many goals we'd scored prior to that, it was poor in comparison to our rivals. Very poor in comparison to our rivals. But since the arrival of Bruno, we've kind of accelerated that. Conceding goals hasn't been our issue this year. It's been scoring them as a football club. So Maguire and AWB helped to fix up our problems at the back. And by the way, if you look at the goals we've conceded in the last 10, 12 games, the amount of them that have been goalkeeping errors is mad. Defensive errors I'll take. The amount of, honestly, I was looking at it yesterday. I think we've conceded something like 9, maybe 10 goals now on that unbeaten run up until the Chelsea game. And of those 10 goals, 5 of them were goalkeeping errors. Like absolute, don't look at no one else. It was a rubbish shot. It shouldn't have gone in. So that's why I say to people, don't panic about these types of things. There's nothing to worry about at all. Nothing to worry about at all in regard to any of that. Being a Chelsea fan, I would take Maguire any day of the week, but just not at that price. And I get, I get that, bro. I get that. But then he shouldn't be judged based on the price because he didn't dictate that. He didn't dictate how much he cost. Do you know what's interesting? Wouldn't it be an interesting world if we never got if we were never told how much players cost? Wouldn't it be interesting if we just judge people on how they perform? But it's very easy to like scapegoat people and just look at the negatives within them and put a bit of comedy music behind it. There we go. I just realized something. Crystal Palace have lost their last 6 games on the bounce. Wow. That's mad, you know. That's genuinely crazy. 6 games in the league on the bounce they've lost. How much have they won since the restart? So if they beat Bournemouth on their first game back and then lost everything since. My word. My God, that's terrible. That is terrible. Terry, even if Chelsea sign 6 players, they haven't played together and it takes 5 months before Chelsea can compete. Maybe, but as long as you can stay within touching distance. The difficulty teams have had, I think, in the past couple of years is Liverpool and City have just run away with the league so early and quickly that it's almost been impossible to kind of catch up. I think maybe, just maybe, that may end slightly. What do you all think about Man City's link with Nathan Ake? I'd love to get your thoughts on that as well. Terry, do you think United are really going to get Sancho? Absolutely. 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 Oh, sorry, it is 7 games on the bounce there for Crystal Palace. Ugh, what a miserable return they've had from lockdown. Mad. Terry, why are people not buying from French and Italian leagues in the Premier League? Absolutely ripper bargains. They do, don't they? Sometimes. I'm not sure. I mean, I'd have to go and look into it, but I'm sure Premier League clubs have bought players in from the French leagues before. Pretty sure of it. Ziyech is training with Chelsea, getting to understand the system. That's true. There already. Hi, Terry. How many times have we played Chelsea this season and how many times have we won and how many times have they won? Sometimes something to think about. Maguire has literally played every day, every game. Yeah, do you know what, bro? Listen, that's why I'm disappointed to lose a semi-final. I always am. There should be an inquest from fans into the way we played, but there shouldn't be an overreaction to it because, you know, it really wasn't as, like, in the grand scheme of things, it is not as bad as people have made out. It simply isn't. And it's a fallacy to pretend that it is, in my view. An absolute fallacy and travesty to pretend that it's, oh, the world's coming to an end because we lost 1 game and played badly. We will beat West Ham tomorrow. That will put us, when we win tomorrow, let's go look at these fixtures tomorrow. So we play tomorrow. Sorry, it didn't load up in front of me. As an example, before Chelsea play Liverpool, we will beat West Ham and we will go into 3rd position tomorrow. I think Liverpool will beat Chelsea. I think Liverpool will beat Chelsea on the night and we will sit in 3rd. And then we will beat Leicester on the final day of the season. And then no matter what Chelsea do, I think Chelsea will beat Wolves and they'll qualify for the Champions League. And we will finish 3rd. And we will finish 3rd. And we will be in a very nice position, considering how we begun the season. You know, very, very stop-start. And if we would have had Pogba fit, and if we would have had Bruno from the beginning of the season, we'd still probably be 3rd, but we'd be a lot closer to Man City and a lot closer to Liverpool. And that's all if, buts, and maybes. So it's irrelevant in reality, but in terms of trajectory, we know where we're moving. And what I then say to that is, well, you have to build a squad that can cope for periods of time without those types of players because of injuries and suspensions and rotation. And that's why this summer buying the right people is important. And then the academy players just being that bit older. You know, you will see another improvement in Scott next season, another improvement in Rashford. And I went back to an earlier preview video I did at the beginning of the season. And again, something I was laughed at for saying as well. I said you'll see much more goals from Martial and Rashford this year. Everyone's just laughing, going, "No way! They're never going to score over 15 goals each season." Boys, by the end of this actual campaign, they're tracking easily tracking towards 25 goals apiece. And don't be surprised if tomorrow night, sorry, you don't see 2 or 3 more goals from these boys. Like, they're serious ballers. So that's why I say that. And listen, Chelsea fans, I get you guys want to gel and everything and need all that time, but you guys should be really confident in what you're doing as well, because you are flying, absolutely flying. So I don't know for you, but I think Chelsea will sign Mbappe or Haaland, which I don't know if they'll spend that much money. But Haaland, it depends on the buyout. But yeah, they'll do what they've got to do, I assume. I was going to say something then, and I've lost my train of thought. But how many? So after in the Europa League, so we would play that. There's at least 2 games left for Man United in the Europa League. We've got to play the second leg against LASK, which I actually think is great for us, because it means we have to play the game, but it does give an opportunity to play a few first-team players, but maybe play a lot of the fringe boys in that. We're not going to lose 6-0. That isn't going to happen, and it gives us an opportunity to rest. And so before we go into those knockout, it'll be 3 games. It'll be a quarterfinal, semi-final, final, I believe. So yeah, there's a potential. There's 5. I mean, maximum there is now is 1, 2, 3. There's 6 games remaining this season for Manchester United potentially, and it could end with Champions League qualification and a trophy as well. We've got a big chance of doing that. There's no doubt whatsoever. But listen, I appreciate you all tuning in as ever. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share button, retweet button, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.